guess we might as well get this done. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 310 of Opinions May Vary. I didn't do it. You thought I was gonna, but I didn't.
I did.
I am your host, JR. I have my co-host with me, Alex.
Hello.
Who thought I was gonna do the old standby? It's it's coming.
You're gonna close with it.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
I wasn't even thinking of doing that, but now I might.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Joining us this week is the potential record holder. We're not sure, though. We have not done the math.
Gotta check that.
The last time was 90-something?
96.
96 minus 310 is a number. Everyone get your calculators. This is
214?
This is pretty basic math that we're talking
214.
here. I'm currently stalling to get my calculator.
It is 214.
Woo! Math. Numbers.
It has been 200. Now divide that by 52.
How many per minute?
214 divide. Oh God, my mouse divided by 52.
You have a mouse on a pad, trackpad.
It's a trackpad.
Just tell the people who I am.
4.4 years? Are you serious? Hold on. I need to do that math again. Double checking my numbers.
No, that sounds about
214
right.
divided by
You can just look up the episode and see when it came
52.
out.
Shut up, Zach. Is 4.1 years. Criminal.
And it's not like I'm out of the loop either. Like I've seen you guys.
Like many times. Like we hung out a couple weeks ago. Joining us this week is Zach.
Hey,
Zach, thanks for coming on.
Zach Charbs.
Zach Charbs, the Zach. That's what it was titled last time you were on. It was the Zach Charbs. Back when we talked about Batfleck.
Oh.
Yeah,
Remember
that was
that?
a thing. We already saw 2 movies with him too. Well, I haven't.
I've seen-
I skipped both of them.
I've seen the one.
That
Well, technically, I
happens.
saw one in like a 16th because he showed up for a hot second in Suicide Squad.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Pretty much a
spoilers.
second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you didn't miss anything.
Got those Suicide
Okay,
Squad
good.
spoilers going
That's what I
on.
heard.
Anyone got some hot takes on Suicide Squad?
God damn.
No, we're not gonna.
I have no takes because I never saw it.
That's. I'm envious.
Well, they certainly wouldn't be hot.
Very cold take.
Mild. Room temperature.
Room
take.
temperature take.
It's the literal definition of a room temperature.
The movie
take.
was room temperature.
A hot take would be, "Yo, Suicide Squad wasn't awful." That's a hot take. I said awful really funny because I went to say
He said like a
terrible.
Boston accent on there. It was awful.
I went to say terrible and then switched, but it somehow still came out weird.
Terrible awful.
Terrible awful. There it is.
You're welcome.
That's gonna do it for
It's
this
actually
week.
a Pokemon. You know.
There's no way that it probably is actually.
You're not
Is
sure
it a
now, are you?
waffle? Is it a waffle?
It's a terrible waffle. It's just really sad.
Actually, it's a plant type. So.
Just that's the
No, I'm
only
kidding.
type?
I don't know
Like
if-
Terra, like the Earth, like Invincible's
Well,
daughter.
Well, I hear Blawful and I think of a flower like Blossom.
But it's Terra, so it must be a ground type.
Like an awesome blossom.
It's a ground grass type.
It's a ground grass.
Did we just create a Pokemon?
Extra awesome. Did you ever see
Brett, can you draw us a Terra Blawful, please?
Yes, please. I want to be tagged in that picture.
Colin sent us like this fake Pokemon thing a couple weeks ago, and
yeah?
I can only remember like, they were all amazing, but one of them, it was like the 3 evolutions. It was man, and then Woe Man, and then Woe Man. It was so.
This is a very giggly episode
I gotta
today.
send that. Can you send that to me?
Oh
wanna
yeah, I
see
gotta
that.
go.
Gotta
I gotta
find
go
that.
hunt it down.
Colin,
if
send that to
Colin's
me.
listening, yeah, I don't know where he found it, but they were all incredible. I'm gonna do some digging after the episode. Joining us this week, I'm just kidding. I know we already did it. That was a
already
bad
did it.
joke. I'm gonna cut that out. I edited it out last.
Don't edit out. Just leave
a
it in
chunk
there.
last week. I was
Oh,
like, I even made notes in the show or in my notepad. I was like, edit that shit out that you just said, you moron. So I snipped that right out. So Suicide Squad. No, we don't really have much of an itinerary this week. I did want to talk one thing that I've always leaned on Zach for. His name is Zach, by the way. Have you guys ever really like grasped that?
Yeah, no one really calls me Zach, actually.
I know. Anyways,
At least, especially my friends.
Is it a
Never call
K
me
or an
Zach.
H one?
It's an H.
it's an H.
Yeah,
Zachary.
just take off the array. That's how I did it
Okay.
when I was growing up. I was just
Right.
like, I'm just too lazy to write my full name. So I'm
Oh,
just
I
gonna
thought you were
take the
saying for
3
a hot
letters off.
second there that your full first name is Zach.
No, it's Zachary.
Oh, see, that fucks me up. I
Yeah,
can't.
don't call me that.
You don't.
Don't
I'm
call
not
me
Zachary. No, I'm not going to say your full name.
Charbs. Zachary Charbs. Sounds weird.
Zachary Charbs. So I don't even know what I want to hit on first. Because I want to talk
it's
about.
been 4 years. We
It's
got a
been
lot to catch up
4
on.
years. What are the takes on Batfleck? I like. Part of me wants to start with comics. Part of me wants to start with video because you're a man of like everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't. It's hard to pinhole you, and like Zach is a comics guy because you're kind of a comics guy, but you also have a vast knowledge of music.
I think if I had to pick one, it would definitely be, I think, video games. I think I just run really deep in that stuff. You know,
you also had a podcast about it.
I did. It was good. That was the last time I was here. Alex let us record our first episode here.
It was a mutual let.
It was a mutual let,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because most of it's Jared's equipment.
But it's still at your
It's
residence.
in this location.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
True.
Yep.
Alex lets me store it. He doesn't even charge me.
I didn't want to take credit for it as well.
You're
Well,
a
I'm giving you
gentleman.
credit. I'm giving you credit.
So you'd call yourself mainly a video game person?
I would say so. If I had to pick one out of all those, I would say video game person.
That's fair. That's fair.
And that's why I wanted to do a podcast about video games.
Right? It was a damn good podcast.
Thank
too.
you.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that.
Maybe we'll bring it back. See what
There's
happens.
still plenty of time.
A lot of time.
A lot.
Nothing's stopping you.
Nothing's stopping us. We already have all the equipment, so we can
Exactly.
just record whenever.
Just plump right down. Talk about. I don't know. They remade Secret of Mana. Did you see that?
Yeah, I heard it was really bad.
Have you played Secret of Mana? Have you ever played that?
I actually have a copy of it for Super Nintendo, and I've never played it, and I can't really play it right now.
Right. Yeah. The whole thing.
Shadow Colossus has been huge again.
Didn't it just get re-released or something?
They
did.
they completely remastered it this
Like
time.
again.
No, but they didn't just like HD. Like they rebuilt like the game.
Okay. So
A lot of it's been on.
have
highlight
both
reels,
of you
yeah.
played Shadow Colossus?
Yes,
I played
the original when it first came out.
I played some.
Can you?
Not a
Did you
lot.
enjoy it?
It just wasn't for me.
Isn't it sad from what I hear?
Yeah.
Like you're murdering these things that just are kind of there.
Spoiler.
Do you know the?
Do you want me to go full spoilers on Shadow
Do you know
Colossus?
the meme of like who would win? And it's
Yep,
like
yep.
what, how many? 16?
Yeah,
16
something like that.
giant, like amazing creatures. They're the only thing of their kind that wouldn't hurt a fly, or one horny boy.
And guess who won?
Boy is spelled B-O-I.
Of course, BOI. It's like the Fortnite boys.
Boy.
Because I know we have a lot of friends who are big into Shadow Colossus, and I feel like it's one of those things that I know it's great from what I hear.
Mhm.
I would probably love it, but I don't
The
care.
thing that's interesting about that game is that like nowadays you find a lot more like quieter games to play. Like a lot of indie games can be like that. Like it's not very actiony, you know. So if that game came out today, it'd fit right in. But when it did come out, it was so ahead of its time, I guess, in that regards of that kind of style and artistic game.
It was PS2, right?
PS2, yeah.
I think my main experience with that, like maybe what turned me off from it was, you know, when you're forced to watch something over, especially when you're watching someone who's maybe not very good at video games try and play something,
Oh, I hate
and it's just
drives me nuts. I won't name names, but I have friends who really
yeah.
suck at video
I imagine
games.
we all have at least the one. But this is way back when Shadow Colossus first. It was on PS2, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And like he was playing it, and I remember this person, he was trying to take down one of the colossi. I don't know.
Yep.
And he just couldn't do it. Like hours. I'm watching this guy fight the same thing over and over and over again, and I just wanted to die. I hated every second of it. So
See,
I think
I wasn't good at killing the colossi.
it's because you just wanted to be their friend.
Well,
You weren't horny enough.
I wasn't obviously not nearly enough.
The age-old story.
As it just a game like that just didn't pique my interest. Between like the puzzle solving to get to the locations, and then you have to find your way up the thing.
Yeah,
and-
they're a level within themselves. Like it's a
Oh, yeah.
boss and a level
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
is taking down a colossi. Colossus. Yeah.
it's like if
Singular.
I wasn't sure like how I said it. so-
it's like while Mario is platforming, the thing he's platforming is also the thing you have to kill.
Is a breathing, living thing
Yeah.
that did nothing wrong, from what I understand.
Just gotta kill them.
Just kind of hangs out.
You say it's so matter of fact. It's a circle of life.
And that's a good take on like games at that time because they're all actiony, violent. You know, you had games like Grand Theft Auto, which was very new out at that time, which was
like
huge,
Vice City
and stuff like
San
that. So a
Andreas.
game that kind of put a twist that the spoiler was like the violence made you were the bad guy. You didn't know that like until like close to the end of the game, which is very interesting. And obviously that I think that's what made it stay so long and has made it like a cult classic. But like you said, it's not for everybody. It's definitely not for everybody. The original controls do not hold up at all. Really bad. But then again, that guy who I don't know his name off the top of my head, but all his games are like that.
Yeah, a friend of mine
They
was
all just don't make sense.
a friend was playing, and he's like the trying to find like the special point is like sometimes pointing to the completely wrong direction, and
You have like some platforming to do, and it's like it makes you can't jump. This simple jump, like you just can't do because the game just isn't made.
then you
well
fall
in that
off, and you just
respect.
got to start all over again.
Nobody likes games like that.
It's like playing Get Over Here.
Get over it.
Get Over It.
Yeah. Getting over it. Is that what it is?
I never heard of it.
Oh.
Never. The one with the guy who's in like the little pot and he has the hammer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've
yeah.
seen. I've
I was
seen.
gonna
that.
say you have to have seen
I've
it.
seen it. I didn't know what the name is.
Yeah, I think it's Getting Over It.
Brett warned me about it.
Yeah, the
Then
videos are. Donkey did a video on it, and it was brutal. I can't do those games like the ones where it's just. I mean,
Wonky.
I guess I kind of sorted. Like I was a big fan of Trials. The dirt bike. You ever play Trials?
Yep,
with the dirt bike?
I like Trials.
Trials Fusion kind of lost me. The one for the PS4. Like it was. I don't know. I like the warehouse aspect of of Trials HD. But I guess you gotta innovate.
It's a fun game, and with the game like that, it's all control based. It's all gameplay. And that's just right up my alley. It's like good gameplay.
It's
games.
simple. It's here are like
Simple,
your 3 buttons. Do
like,
the thing.
Ever play like any of the Housemarque games that usually come out on Sony consoles? Like you have like Super Stardust. They did Deuce Machina just came out within the past year. They did Resogun. It was like the launch game for PS4. You never played any of those? They're just
No.
like arcade shooter games. And it's just all gameplay, but it's just like an addicting loop. You can just play them over and over again, just mindless. It's just a lot of fun.
Actually,
Definitely check out Resogun because it was free on PS4 when the PS4 launched, and it was pretty popular.
one that I actually like hopped back into just the other day. I was literally killing time. Like, I believe Colin was gonna like meet me online to play like Fortnite or some shit, and I booted up Hotline Miami, the first one. Just because it's on my PS3.
That's the same kind of game. Yeah.
Like I picked up where I last left off, like kind of Hotline Miami spoilers here. Like when you're in the hospital, like the tough levels were like those levels were a bitch for me. And like I just picked it up, cranked out a couple levels, and went to play Fortnite. And then the next time I play it, I'll pick up where because I've already beaten the game. Like I just randomly play it. It's just one of those games. It's like I guess I'll try this level.
Now here's a question: if that just clicked in my head, you know what that game would be great on?
Switch,
Would you buy it again?
probably. Yeah. Yep.
That game on the go would be fantastic.
Yeah, it would be the ultimate time waster. Like, oh hey, I'm like I'm at PAX waiting in line. I guess I'll play Hotline Miami. I just tried to say Hotline Miami just then.
Hello, mommy.
If you could just snip that out, Alex, in the end of the year next
I'll take care
year,
of it.
and just replay it 50 times. It was about 13 minutes
50's
in.
a lot, but I mean, I could.
50 times or not at all.
Have you guys seen that joke of God? How many games are they going to port Skyrim to? Now I've got
How many more times are they going to port Skyrim?
I can port Skyrim onto my refrigerator's screen. And
They don't
like,
it's not on tablet yet, I don't think.
but like, if that's one complaint, and at the same time, the same people are like, "Hey, so are we getting Ocarina of Time on the Switch or what?"
Yeah, I mean, I think the main difference is Skyrim being like a newer game. It's already been on next gen consoles, so why are we porting it to more next gen consoles? I've actually never played Skyrim. I've never played an Elder Scrolls. It's one of those. It never really tickled my.
A friend lent me Oblivion, and I didn't do well, and I didn't have clear goals because I'm a moron, and it just didn't appeal to me.
Give me a direction to go.
I need I really ask you to spell it out for me. I could handle the original Knights of the Old Republic, like that was fine. I did good. I beat that game, but
You might not like Breath of the Wild.
I parked into Oblivion, and I was like,
Breath of the
what?
Wild is
What
there's
are do?
too much going on in that game.
Yeah.
It's
almost too much sometimes.
It's a bit overwhelming, especially when you're so used to a certain type of game with Zelda. Because like I've been playing Zelda since the first. Like I remember I had both Zelda 1 and 2, Adventures of Link. You guys ever play Zelda 2?
It's 2D. It's definitely the most different other than
that
Breath of the
game.
Wild.
So every time you died, Ganon would go, mar, mar, mar. He'd laugh at you, which was frequent for me. I hated that fucking game when I was a kid. But like I loved Link to the Past. That game like changed my life.
Love that
Ocarina of Time. I was literally telling I got my N64 working today. So
How's that GoldenEye?
we'll talk about that. We'll get there. I don't want to have Ken. Well, Ken's not listening. Who am I kidding? I don't want to give him the satisfaction.
Are you gonna like stream you playing GoldenEye
No.
and do the time it? And...
Paintball mode.
Yo.
Two quick ones.
Don't even fucking, dude. I've seriously thought like, I wonder how hard it is to get some of the easier records. Okay, we're just going right into it. So I was gonna talk about Majora's Mask, and I was telling my wife,
Okay.
oh,
Yeah, Majora's Mask.
Finish your Zelda story.
I do. Yeah.
but I really like Zelda. There's my story.
Okay.
And Breath of the Wild is an enormous open world game, and it's unbelievable. Just actually, if you haven't played Breath of the Wild, just fucking play Breath of the Wild. I don't care if you're playing on Switch, if you're playing on the Wii U. It's a beautiful game. Very hard. I yelled at it a lot, screaming. This isn't fun. I hate this game. Why would they do this?
And then you keep playing.
And then I keep playing, and then I beat the thing that wasn't fun, and I was like, this game is incredible. I'm sorry, Zelda. I do this because I love you.
Hug it out, bitch. Office references.
Zach's been dropping them all day. That's what happens. So, okay, story time. Last week, I went to my parents' house because I have a ton of storage there. Just an embarrassing amount of storage.
Oh, that's where you've been going through stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you can send me your old collectible cards.
Yeah,
too.
because I brought a lot of it. I threw a lot of it out. Most like my stuff from like college. Why the fuck did I save that? And then I brought a lot of
term paper someday.
Exactly.
Like your diploma.
Yeah, I never got one. 4 years of community college. And I brought a lot of it back, like in boxes, just to go through it at my own house, so I wasn't wasting my parents' time.
Yeah.
And I found all my old cards, all my old Dragon Ball Z cards, my comic book cards,
Pokemon deck.
No, that's been in my safekeeping.
Oh, you already have that.
It's
okay.
always
That wasn't
always
staying
with
at your
me.
parents' house. That's what I thought.
Can you tell Zach about your wife and your baseball card?
My wife and my baseball
Yeah.
card.
JR found his Jose Canseco card.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So okay. We're going stories within stories. We are inceptioning my
Really
stories
deep
now.
tangents here.
I like it. That's a
real
good name
deep-
for the episode,
some
by the way.
deep cuts.
Inceptioning.
So okay, I had this one same folder for all my cards, and it would rotate out what I was more interested in at the time. At one point, this folder held all my Marvel cards, or my comic cards, and then it held my Dragon Ball Z cards, and it's been home to my Pokemon cards since middle school. And I also at one point inherited like a baseball card set, like a complete set. It was the Donruss 86. And I did a Google search because I still have all those cards, and I organized them all into because all my cards were literally in a box, just thrown in a box, and sat in my parents' basement for 13 years. And I was like, I Googled Donruss 86, and everyone was like, and there was a website that showed like all the most valuable cards in that set. At one point, there was a $100 card in that set. It was a Jose Canseco rookie card. So I went through and I was like, holy shit, I have it. It's worth dick now, literally pennies, because nobody cares about baseball cards. And Jose Canseco was riddled with controversy and all that. And I'm telling my wife this incredibly long and boring story about baseball cards. And I mentioned Jose Canseco. And my wife goes, a Jose Canseco bat? And then I go, what?
I get the reference.
I was like, it's a card. Why did you just say that? And she's like, it's from Ninja Turtles. And
I told Brett.
Brett gets it.
It's my boy Casey Jones.
And I was telling Brett, I was like, Jose Canseco card. And I type out what she said. Tell me you did not pay money for this. And Brett's like, I almost typed it myself.
And we were on the way. And keep in mind, my wife doesn't like drop quotes. She's not like as annoying as me, where I'm just constantly quoting shit and I'm looking at her, and
You
be
are
like, "Do
pretty
you get
annoying.
it?"
Get
You're
it?
pretty annoying.
Yeah, pretty annoying. And so like to hear her drop a quote, especially one that like I have no idea because I'm not a really big fan of the Ninja Turtles movie. And then like she pulls it up on her phone. She's like, "Now I need to watch the scene." And I was like, "Okay,
It's a good scene.
you know, married the right woman."
Casey Jones fights Raph.
Cricket, more like crumpet.
See,
Yeah.
that's why I hated
love that
Casey
movie.
Jones. Why is he being such a dick to Raph? He's such a prick. He's so confident and cocky. I hate Casey Jones. God
Jones
damn you,
is-
Casey
he's
Jones.
He's movies with Mikey Newman's favorite.
I know.
If you watch the early ones, he calls him out every time he's in a movie.
Casey Jones ranks above Donatello and Michelangelo.
I'm gonna shut your
He
mic
does.
off if you don't shut your mouth. So, anyways, I found.
I was really proud of her and disappointed in you.
Yeah, you should have been.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny. Good call, Rissa.
yeah, definitely good call. Props,
So,
respect.
going through all my storage, I had an oh my god moment because I found my N64. Holy shit, it's my N64. I found my original controller, my red one, because I had a red controller, my brother had a yellow controller, my sister had a see-through purple controller, and then we had the gray one. And all the sticks are garbage. Because I played Perfect Dark for hours. And I found the N64, and I brought it home, my controller, didn't have any cables with it. Oh my god, I went through my own storage. It's already in my basement. I found the power thing, the giant power brick that the N64 has. It's enormous.
Like the brick went into the console.
Went into
like,
the console, into a tiny little plug, but it's a huge brick. But I didn't have the AV cables. Zach was like, "Yo, Nintendo, you just reusing them, man." He just hits me with that knowledge. So I ordered some new cables, $5 on eBay, free shipping.
What the
The
red,
AV
yellow
cables,
cable?
yeah.
the
red, yellow,
AV
white.
cables for the N64, Nintendo
Are they
reused
special
them for Super Nintendo, N64, and GameCube. All use the same AV cables.
It had the
So
adapter.
if you have one, you have one for all three.
Special
So
adapter goes
they're
in the
not
back of the
just
N64.
regular cables.
They're just composite cables. But the plug that goes into the console, that
Is-
end is the same on all three.
Oh, okay.
It's specific that you can't just use any old AV cables.
It's not like you need a special one just for that console.
I now
you
follow.
So
But it's
they're,
not
they were
like
mass
any-
produced, so it's
It's not
easy
like
to
any
down.
one you could pick up at Best Buy or whatever.
No.
Okay.
So I find my N64, and I remember a couple weeks ago we were all talking about N64s and stuff, and Ken was talking about how GoldenEye, while one of the most incredible games that I've ever played, does not hold up. And I remember,
Like most N64
I'm gonna
games.
curse a little bit here. I remember thinking, Ken, you're full of fucking shit. How can you even say that? How can you desecrate the perfection that is GoldenEye? GoldenEye was I bought a GoldenEye strategy guide before I even owned an N64 because I just really wanted to read about it.
Yeah.
Because I played it at my friend's house and I was like, this is unbelievably amazing. GoldenEye was incredible. And I got my N64 working today, literally today. Like I was supposed to be going to pick up Zach and I was like, give me a minute. And I plug in GoldenEye and I turn on, like I send a snap to the guys and Ken's like, prepare for disappointment. I was like, fuck you, Ken.
And then his next snap 5 minutes later was him playing a WWE game.
I was playing WrestleMania 2000. Yeah,
It's like, oh, GoldenEye didn't
I
last
was
that long.
stunning the shit out of Steve Blackman.
You were.
I saved it. I'll show it to you. So I plug in GoldenEye. I throw on Damn Agent. You know, I'm
First
not
level.
really going for Secret Agent, Double Agent right now. That's in the future. Throw on Damn Agent, and I move forward, and I immediately, my right thumb instinctively goes for the stick. Like, you
That's
know,
been on every other controller since then.
pretty
Before.
much.
Yeah.
Um,
PlayStation 1.
PlayStation 1 didn't have sticks.
It did. It eventually did.
God damn it, Zach. So,
I did a video game podcast. Give me a freaking break. I know this stuff.
and I'm like, oh God, I have to move forward and backwards and left and right and look left and right all with the same stick. Like what? And I felt like, you know, when you hand the controller to like your little kid
Yeah.
and like they just stare at the ceiling.
And spin.
Yeah, I was spinning. I was doing the spinning, and I was so embarrassed because my wife was watching, and I was like, "Yeah, there's a sniper rifle up here in this guard tower. If I could get to the fucking stairs."
Wait, so how are you supposed to?
So it has a
There's
tank
strafe.
controls.
Huh?
Well, it's tank controls. Like to aim on the screen, you need to hold the button.
It's if you use the shoulders, you can actually aim.
You can aim.
But
you
other
need
words,
to
it
pivot.
uses
You-
aim assist.
Yeah, use aim assist. What's more frustrating than GoldenEye is that Resident Evil 4 and 5, and 5 came out on the Xbox
Dude.
360.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, we already have two joysticks. Like you can just move and shoot at the same time. It's like, no. You have to pivot and shoot. And you're like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Have you seen any game that has come out in the past, 10 years? Like, this has been fixed.
Seriously, though.
Why are we doing this?
Resident Evil 4, probably one of the best games I've ever. I've been dropping that
First
a
time
lot.
I played that game, I was like, this is legit.
It scared the shit out of me.
Yep.
I had no idea what I was playing. At the time, I had no idea that it was already hailed as one of the best games ever made. And I was like, it was one of those rare times where I got to form my own opinion. You know? Because when you hear, this is one of the best games ever made, and you play that game, and you go, holy shit, that was a great game. I didn't know this one was already hailed as a great game. So I'm playing, I'm like, wow, I'm really enjoying this. And I had never played a Resident Evil 4 game.
It is the thing with Resident Evil 4. It was one of the first games that has that third person over the shoulder. It was the first game that actually did it right. And so everything that you play now, like a game like Uncharted, a game like that doesn't exist without Resident Evil 4.
It was scary.
It's so ahead of its time.
It was funny. There's a lot of stuff.
What
you
are you buying?
What are you buying? What
What
are you selling?
Is that what that's from?
That's from Resident Evil 4.
The guy who sells you the weapons.
I never knew that's what that was.
Yep.
I
It's
thought
the
it was a
merchant.
Zelda game or something.
It's some creepy dude in a cloak, and you just run into. He's in the most random places.
He's just standing there with his torch, and it's like, do I kill him?
Every time, if me and Jared go to a convention or a flea market
You
or
drop
a
that line.
comic show, and I'm looking at shit, and Jared will just come up and, what are you buying? And I'm like,
I'm stupid, man.
and I don't know, and I go, oh, there's a Titans book here, and he's like, the line's, what are you selling? And I'm like, what? I don't. And it took me
I'll
years.
buy it at a high price.
It took me years to finally follow up. Oh, he's doing a quote thing again.
Have you ever seen the Mega 64 video on it?
No,
You know Mega 64?
no.
You know Mega 64. They're the guys who do
Is it
the
a
video
review
game
guy?
stuff in real life.
Okay.
There was Mario and Luigi running around and running around.
Or
Then
they
they
glitch or
run
whatever.
into Shigeru Miyamoto. They just kind of walk away, and then a guy in a Zelda suit comes out and he dives back. You never seen that?
No.
Mega 64 is great.
Okay.
They
sure.
they do video game stuff in the real world, and it's really awkward and funny. And they did one where a guy dressed up as the Resident Evil merchant, and he went up to
showed
people
up
on the streets and was like, "What are you buying?" He went to a hot dog stand and was like, "What are you selling?" "Oh, buy it at a high price." And he got the cops called on him and shit. It's great. I have a lot of stuff to show you guys after this episode. I'm doing a lot of but anyways, I found GoldenEye, and I will never admit that it didn't hold up, but it was rough.
Those stairs were up, bitch.
It was a harsh reality for a second, and then I plugged in Majora's Mask, and I immediately I was like, I got the Z targeting. You just snap into the controls.
Mm-hmm.
You ever play a game that you haven't played in a long time, and you just it's like, oh man, how do I even? Oh, that's how I played.
I'm kind of dreading that actually.
With what?
Yeah, what game?
Because I was playing Shadows of Mordor, and then at some point I switched to doing Arkham Knight. And
That's a tough game to remember.
and between
There's a lot happening.
between the two of them, there's a lot going on in the controls. There's a lot of alternate weapon techniques. But then in Batman, you enter detective mode. But in the Lord of the Rings one, you enter the ghost, whatever that is. He sees us through a ghost realm version of everything.
Yeah, because he has a being inside him kind of thing.
And these are two similar things that are happening inside the game, but they're different buttons. And I'm thinking I'm about I'm after playing Shadow of Mordor for so long, and then I go to Batman, and I go to play Batman, I go to enter detective mode, which I think is ghost mode, and then I summon the Batmobile over and over and over again. It's let me just switch to my now I'm in the Batmobile again. Because it just zooms in out of nowhere. It's they got
it does that whole cinematic thing to get into that.
And they got to shoot me out, and then I glide for a bit because I got to look around. Now I'm in a different place from where I was before. I find the thing I got to look at the first point.
I have that with Fortnite.
Yeah.
Because for a week, I was really into Fortnite.
Right.
And it's a shooter, so it's kind of similar to Overwatch. You know, you aim down the sights, and you press R2 to shoot, and you shoot, and you shoot. But with Overwatch, I'm used to circle being crouch.
I was gonna say crouch
the
and
crouching?
shooters is
Yeah.
always a different button.
It messes me up. So I go to crouch in Fortnite, which is a big part of the game, and in Fortnite, when you press circle, it brings out your building stuff. So I think I'm going to crouch when I'm really, there's just a fake wall in front of me that like, it's like, do you want to build this? Like, no, I want to fucking crouch. But it's one of the sticks. I'm like, oh, I'm playing Call of Duty. I didn't know I was playing Call of Duty.
I can't remember what 2 games it was, but like the crouch button in one game was like the grenade button in like another game, and I was bouncing. I like stopped playing one and like went back and forth, and I kept like trying to crouch, and I just kept like chucking a nade against the wall and killing myself every time. And I was like,
well, it's like which button is X?
Right, because then every controller they're different. They're in a different spot.
That's
like,
been killing me on my Switch. That's been killing me on my Switch. Yeah. It's like I'm playing Zelda, and it's like hit X, and I hit like what X would be on the PlayStation controller, and I'm like, it like bothered me for like the longest time.
I will say, as beautiful and amazing as Breath of the Wild was, it took me a long time to get the controls. Like a long time, especially between switching weapons, shields, and using your
being efficient with the controls in battle, because the battles weren't like actually hard, but it was hard because I just don't know how to control the game. And they're simple. They are simple. It's just wrapping your head around it. It's a lot different than a lot of other games that are like that.
But I also wanted to like playing these games again. I snapped right into WrestleMania 2000. Because like. It followed a very similar. It was the exact same format as like WCW versus NWO. Mm-hmm. It's like you press A to do a grapple.
Right.
You hold A to do a hard grapple, and then you either press up or down or left or right, A or B, and that'll do a different move every time. Mm-hmm. And then when you get your special, you grapple with them, and then you hit the stick and you do your special. And I stunned the shit out of Steve Blackman.
I don't think Blackman deserves that.
Blackman, he kicked me outside of the ring.
Oh,
like. He did his karate on me.
Yeah, well,
he was a black belt.
He's the most dangerous man alive.
For like a minute.
Now, question: growing up, were you guys wrestling games on N64 over PlayStation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
mostly had a console at that point.
Yeah.
I had both. I had one. My N64 was at my dad's house, and I had the PlayStation at my mom's. And it got to a point where I just brought my PlayStation with me to my dad's. But I had the SmackDown games. I was big on the SmackDown games.
I had rented one of the SmackDown games.
They were good.
That's one where I racked up a pretty hefty late fee.
You just hang on to it.
Exactly.
Well, where's Blockbuster now?
Exactly.
And where are you?
Should've
See, you're fine.
The reason I'm usually behind on video games is because I went from Nintendo to Dreamcast.
Ooh, nothing wrong with that.
And nothing in between. For all that time, and I didn't have a Dreamcast until it was already done and
that's a lot to adjust to.
And then I didn't have an original Xbox until 360 came out, and then I played that until they weren't supporting its network ability anymore. But now I'm caught up to PS4.
Yeah, and you had a PS3 back when it was big.
Yep, I had a that was still like a year or two after it came out.
I mean, the only console I've ever had on launch day was a Switch. Mm-hmm. And that was a splurge for me. I was like, you know what? I've never really done this before. I've actually, aside from I bought my PS3, my PS4. The rest of the consoles I ever got were like gifts, like Christmas presents and stuff. Both my Wii and my Wii U were gifts. N64 was like the family's N64. Mm-hmm. You know.
I was the same. I got most of them like late in the life cycle.
Yep.
And the PS4 was the first one that I got on launch day. I like pre-ordered it. Like they announced they had that press conference at E3, and I'm like, Amazon buy, done.
I pre-ordered a Switch, and I remember I had huge buyer's remorse like 10 minutes later.
I knew I wanted to wait. I knew I wanted to get the Switch within the first year. It was just right away. I was like, I'll wait till it's closer to like Mario's coming out, and then I'll get it. Even though I know Zelda's good, and I really want to play Zelda, but like, I'll wait till there's more to play on it, and that's what I did. And I love my Switch.
Ultimately, yeah, it was a great. It was really neat because I paid extra for same day shipping, so like or launch day shipping rather. Yeah. So like I pre-ordered it, paid the extra. I had it on launch day. It was the day I started vacation. That was a great week because I started vacation. My vacation ended with PAX. It was great. It was sandwiched in between getting a Switch and going to my favorite show of the year.
Now, question: do you tend to play it in mobile mode? Over on
pretty
the TV?
Much exclusively.
Really?
Yeah, I played most of Zelda on the TV, and a lot of Mario on the TV just because the controls made it a little bit easier. But I really like playing it
sitting on the couch and just having it like in front of you.
My
I feel
wife
like a little
can watch
kid.
TV. Yeah, exactly.
Except you don't need a lamp over you so you can see the screen.
Dude, seriously. And I remember like the real struggle, and like it's in the memes and all that stuff of timing your Pokemon battles to the streetlights when you're driving at night. Yeah. And I do really I absolutely love the Switch. I got my wife the pink and green neon Joy-Cons for her birthday because I simultaneously got them for her and myself.
See, why don't you get her own Switch?
We wouldn't need to. She doesn't play too much games,
Okay.
too many games rather. Mario Odyssey was the first game that she ever beat.
Really?
Yep.
That's awesome, though.
It was a big.
It's so cool to hear when someone's like, at least for me, it's like, I've been beating games my entire life, and someone's like, I just beat my first video game. It's
It
like,
was
that's
a
cool.
huge milestone.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because she doesn't play games very much, in general. She didn't have a whole lot growing up. She had an NES, and that was about it. And she likes to watch. I know she played Galaxy and Galaxy 2 back in the day, but ultimately the games get tough. Galaxies are hard games.
Yep.
And it gets to a point where it's like, well, I can't get past this point, so that's that.
I'm done with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was almost a time playing Odyssey where she was like, I'm about ready to give up, and I was like, just you can. I gave her the you can do it. I was like, trust me. I know it gets just shut it off and walk away. Come back to it later. And she ended up beating the game when we were somewhere. I can't remember. I think we were at some show or some shit, but it was a big moment. It was really neat. And I bought her for Christmas. I bought her the Mario in the tuxedo amiibo.
Oh, nice.
From Odyssey, because I was like, hey, here's your trophy for. But the Switch is great. If you haven't bought a Switch, buy a Switch. Alex, get a Switch. Jesus, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So we can play Splatoon. It'll be you and me. We're the only ones. And Mario Kart. I was playing Mario Kart online again the other day, and I was like, these kids don't even know.
I didn't bother picking it up for my Switch.
If you played it for the Wii U, it's the same thing.
Get the Rabbids game. Mario Rabbids is really
I need
fun.
to pick that up. Yeah.
It's
I
a really
was
fun game.
Never good at Mario Kart. I'm just frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
Is there online play with the one on the Switch?
Mhm.
Okay.
That's my main go-to. I beat all the main stuff. I didn't beat 200cc because 200cc is insane.
For crazy
why
people.
Why do you even need it? I'm not supposed to hit the brakes in Mario Kart. It's acceleration the entire way. I love the online mode, though, mostly because I'm good at it, which is pretty neat. It's one of the few things where it's I'm consistently, if I'm not winning, I'm in the top 3. I'm pretty great. I'm not trying to, I'm pretty great.
It's on my resume.
It is what it is. Let's just say I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mario Kart is Steve Blackman.
I think it could be just anyone, to be honest. Versus Steve Austin.
You don't need to use that euphemism. But, yeah, so I found my N64. That's the... Ken, you're not right. GoldenEye's still good.
I'm gonna sit here, keep shaking my head. The only 2 games that hold up on N64 are the 2 Zeldas.
I want to play Star Fox really bad again.
Star Fox actually holds up. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Star Fox does because it hasn't worked since.
I did want to talk... it's true. I remember I got the Star Fox for GameCube.
It's just not the same.
With the Aperoids. Oh, that was
well, there's two Star Fox.
yeah,
games.
there's one where you're running around.
There's the one with the dinosaurs, and there's
Yeah.
one where it's an actual Star Fox game.
The actual Star Fox game is the one that I had, and it was fun to begin with, but then it gets kind of
I
weird.
want to say Star Fox. No, Assault was the Wii U.
That was the one you. I don't even know.
I don't know either.
I'm
I can't keep up
already-
with Nintendo and all their crap.
Spy Switch.
Spy Switch.
We're not even getting paid to say it. So there's a bunch of stuff a bunch of other
Oh, you
stuff that
guys
I wanted.
No,
You
okay,
didn't,
go ahead.
you
Go
didn't
ahead.
tell us that you were getting paid. What do I want to talk? Do we want to talk about comics or music? What are we talking about?
You guys were rolling really well when you were talking about vinyl earlier.
It's true, we were.
Yeah.
Because Zach is one of the main reasons I even got into vinyl.
Was I really?
Yeah. Because I was like, yo, you can do that?
It's been around since forever, man.
I know. And the thing is, way back in the day, I had a record player that my girlfriend at the time had given me as a gift. But for some reason, the arm, with the needle,
Yeah.
I'm very adept at the terminology here. It wouldn't go past halfway through the record. It would just stop. But there's nothing stop. I was like, you couldn't even force it. And I was like, fuck this. I hate records. I'm never doing this again. And then there was 3 years ago, all of a sudden records are kind of back.
They're way back.
Yeah.
Way
and then
back.
I remember I bought my wife a vinyl, like a vinyl. What an idiot. I bought my wife a record. Buying my wife one record led to us spending over $1,000 on a sound system.
And you know what? It sounds damn good.
It does. It sounds fucking...
If you have the right equipment, it sounds really good.
I went to my buddy of mine who's a big sound guy. You know, he gets like the magazines, and it's like, oh, hey, you can buy this cable for $10,000. It's 3 feet long. Not joking. It's insane what people will spend. And I was like, can you even hear a difference? But he helped me, you know, pick out a receiver, some speakers, you know, to hook everything up. Because like at the end of the day, the receiver, I can listen to my records now, but I can also watch. Watch movies.
You do like a home theater.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've been gradually, like, we recently last summer I grabbed a center channel, which makes movies like really neat because it's like the voice comes out of the center channel, so the everything else can be reserved for like effects and stuff. It's really neat. I need to get the full surround though.
But the thing is, you can slowly build that. That's the thing.
Exactly.
You don't be intimidated and just go like buy a 7.1 system. It's better to like kind of go along with it. Get your receiver, get your 2 stand-ups, and you just keep chipping away and get the added pieces. You always want. It's almost like building a PC. You kind of just want to get the right stuff and take your time getting the right things.
Yeah.
But overall, it'll cost a lot. But it, like you said, you can use it for so many things.
Yep. And like we got really big into vinyl. Like I was all in. You know, I was one of those people who's like, holy shit.
It was bad.
Vinyl's here.
It was bad. It was a bad 2 years.
I'm going to buy a new record every other day. And it didn't help the fact that because I worked at a store that sold records and that was getting into that craze, like out of nowhere, Barnes & Noble, hey, we went from having 0 records to an entire trade table completely devoted to them. And working there, you get a discount. So I'm like, okay, I can justify spending this. You know, it's no problem at all. Like some records, especially like the shorter ones, like they're really cheap. It's like you with my discount, I can get them for like $12. Yeah, I'm gonna buy that.
And my problem was at the time my pull list was at a comic store up in Northampton. I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now.
It was it wasn't Modern Myths. It was
the other one.
Comics and
Comics
More.
Comics and More.
Got it.
And if it wasn't raining or snowing, I would always walk to Newberry and check out the vinyls to see what they got for new that week. And I would always end up buying way more than I should every week. And next thing you know, I have way too many vinyls that half of them I didn't even listen to. Like, I just have them.
I just want them.
I just want them. It's like, oh, yeah, I've heard this band before. Bye.
I'm like, high fidelity.
It's bad. It's a bad habit. It was a bad habit.
I'm conflicted in my head because part of me says, like, well, I guess it's a good thing I didn't tell you every time there's, like, a vinyl collection that comes through the auction. But then again, Jared doesn't like old stuff.
That's the thing.
See, I like some. It depends for me.
Well, Jared likes buying like the brand, like it hasn't been sullied by someone else's.
Oh no,
hands
I'll
yet.
buy used. I'll go into a used store and buy like some 70s, 80s
He's smirking
stuff.
and nodding.
It's true. I don't even like borrowing stuff. When someone's like, "Oh, hey, I have this book. Let me lend it to you." No.
If I were to tell you, like, after you flip through and like your fingers are dusty from,
well, like
nobody wants that.
It's also like, I guess the book part of it is when I read a book, part of the book reading process for me is finishing the book and putting it on my shelf.
Mm-hmm.
I just fucking read that. That's mine. And when it's like, okay, I finished this, I guess I got to give it back now. Like, where's my proof that who can come over and marvel at my bookshelf now? They're not going to know I just read that. I'm very vain, very terrible person. But with records, it's a little different because like the older stuff, it's like, oh God, I'm such a hipster. Oh, what a loser. But like the older stuff sounds so much better because like the newer stuff, it's like an MP3 pressed on a vinyl.
Yeah, it's not as good.
Yeah, whereas like my wife, her mother gave us, when she found out we were buying a lot of vinyl, she gave us all of her old stuff. And like when I put it on, I was like, I remember texting a friend of mine. I was like, why does this sound so much better? Like the older stuff, it sounds so much more crisp, despite the fact that it's like 40 years old. It's been sitting in a basement. She's like, because it was designed to be on vinyl. Like it's
not digital. It's analog press and stuff like that. There are some that still come out now that are done like that. One of my favorite ones is "Wasting Light" by Foo Fighters. That one was analog press, and it sounds so much better than everything else that I have that's more recent. But I mean, you throw in like my mom's old records, or like I was able to pick up a couple Queen albums, and they just sound so good, so good.
It's really, and like everyone says, like you can't tell that you can totally.
Oh,
tell
you can tell.
You can absolutely.
It's
tell.
crisper. You can hear the instruments so much better. It's not just like this. You don't just hear the song. You hear everyone playing, and like it's crazy that you can like hear that, but you can, and it's really cool.
The strange part is like
especially when you have a sound system like you got.
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
really hear it.
I can't remember the last CD I bought. I cannot recall the last CD that I actually purchased.
What was the first CD you've ever purchased?
The first CD that I ever bought.
That's a good question for you too. I want you to answer this too.
The first CD that
With
I
your
ever
own money.
bought with my own money was that I remember, because it may have been a Michael Jackson thing. I was big into Michael Jackson.
I was too.
I had a lot of his CDs. But the first one that I remember, especially the first rock CD, was Americana by The Offspring. And I remember absolutely was blown away that he said fuck on the record. You can't, like, I remember I dove at the stop button because I was like embarrassed. It's like, I had no idea that you could even do that.
How about you, Alex?
I think it was Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie? Which album?
Hellbilly Deluxe.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
What about you?
I remember specifically being in, it was either like a Walmart or a Target, and I was torn between two CDs to buy. It was Alien Ant Farm, their first album, the one that has Smooth
Anthology?
Criminal, Anthology, or Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park.
Dude, Hybrid Theory.
And I went with Hybrid Theory.
That album is amazing.
I can't listen to them anymore though.
Same.
Like it was such a phase in my life where I listened to them non-stop. That's like I listened to enough Linkin Park in my life that
I believe you and I have the exact same syndrome.
It's like I still say the album's great and everything, but it's just like I just can't listen to them anymore. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
Like, and even all this, I kind of fell out of Linkin Park like when they started doing all the Transformer songs.
Same
I was like, you're losing me, Chester.
those first couple albums were good, and I even have the live album too. It was really good.
Live in Texas. Live in Texas was so good.
The DVD.
I had it. And I'm like, even Meteor was great.
Meteor was great. I remember when that came out.
I remember, like, I wanted to be Chester Bennington. You know, I started spiking my hair because of Chester Bennington.
See, I did not do that.
I did.
I did get into anime though because of them.
Right. All I wanted to do was get my lip pierced right down the center, just like Chester Bennington. My mom said, "You cannot do that, but you can pierce your eyebrow."
Huh.
Yeah.
And you didn't do it?
I didn't do it.
No. Coward.
I was. Yeah. Well,
Neither I.
hindsight, good choice. But I didn't do it. But
I just couldn't. Once I.
Dude, you don't know who I used to be.
I'm glad I don't.
Originally,
it was bad.
The band's name was going to be Hybrid Theory,
Yes.
and they were going to be
Oh, I
Linkin
know.
Park because that's where they're from.
I ran a fan MySpace page.
Oh.
And I put up demos. I had like, oh yeah, I was way in.
So is it true the story of why they changed the name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a shame. So like one of the biggest bands at the time, Limp Bizkit, and they're like, how could we put our disc right next to their disc? LIMP. We'll be LIN, and the LIN shows up right next to LIM, and we'll be people just buy us when they buy that. It's like, sorry, you can't just get by on your own talent.
I think they ended up doing that, though. They ended up probably getting by on.
Eventually,
I think
they definitely lasted longer.
who made more money and lasted longer? Definitely Linkin Park.
Yeah, but which
they're
one of
not
those
currently
bands caused me to make a screen name after them?
That was
gonna
my
be
email.
Limp Bizkit.
That was my. I had a Linkin Park email. That was my
I had a
email.
Linkin Park everything in 8th grade. I got screamed at by my art teacher because in 8th grade, one of the big things you get to do is you get to make a mask. They put plaster on your face. They put straws in your nose and shit. They don't put straws in your nose, but like
you don't actually. The makeup artist in me is crying.
But they do the whole plaster thing, and then you get your mask and you paint it, and it's hung in the lobby of the middle school for the year. Yeah. And I remember I did one of the Linkin Park logos on my mask. And
was it like the soldier with the wings?
No, it was just like the cross, and it said like LP in the corner. Like it was awful, but I loved it. I still have that mask. It's in storage. I found it the other day.
Jared also had a red.
Did you put it on when you play GoldenEye?
I didn't.
What?
What'd you say?
I thought we've joked about your red baseball cap.
I had the red Yankees hat, ironically, because I dressed up as Fred Durst for a party once, and then I sold it on eBay with Cap Uke on it.
I apologize.
I had a Braves hat though, which was kind of red. But what I was getting at, my art teacher publicly shamed me for that mask. She held it up in front of the entire class and she said, "Are you kidding me with this?" And she's like, "This is done." I was like, "Yeah, it's done. I thought it came out great." Yeah, Lincoln Park got me in shit with my art teacher. But
R.I.P.
You're
Chester.
supposed to do art on this.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, I was leaning in to Lincoln, and that was at a time when I idolized everything Green Day did, like, and that was before all the American Idiot shit. This is back in like early 2000s, late 90s. But yeah,
A little before me, because I'm just a little bit younger than you, so I kind of just missed that whole Green Day boat, just barely.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
I got into
Blink 182 was the thing when I was
into Green Day when they were on the decline. Like when I really got into them when Warning had just come out, which is like, what is this? But as far as like, do you remember your first record, like when you got into vinyl?
Yes, because I bought it. Because I remember I was at a Newberry Comics in Rhode Island, the Providence Mall, and I didn't have a record player yet. And I'm just like, I was always contemplating on getting one and getting into it. And I'm like going through, and I'm like, if they have like a certain album that I really like, I am going to buy it, and I'm going to buy a record player on Amazon. That's been sitting in my wish list for months. And it was White Pony by Deftones.
I hear that album's amazing.
It's really good.
I've only heard the one song by the Deftones.
It's on that one. It's on that album, but the whole album's really good.
It's so sad.
I know.
And I bought right after I bought it in the store, that Newberry, I hopped on my phone, went on Amazon, moved it to the cart, and I had the record player within a couple days. Prime member.
You're looking at a Prime member. It's really, and it's also kind of a bummer. Like what I was getting at with the CD thing. Like I haven't bought a CD in years, but in the past 2 years, I've bought 50 vinyl
You've
records.
actually paid for music.
Yeah, I've paid. Yeah. Well, like that's the thing. I haven't.
That was my thing too. It's like for a long time I was just, like everybody was. You're just downloading music,
I had Napster,
LimeWire
LimeWire back in the day,
and the only way I would support bands is by going to concerts. And because I just didn't really want CDs. I don't know why.
Yeah, I turned to iTunes. Like I would still buy music, but I would just download it. Like,
see, I've never bought a song off iTunes.
I went in the opposite directions that you guys have. Because like when
cassettes,
when you were saying you started,
track
downloading them or Napster or iTunes or whatever, like I've only recently, like within the past year, have bought stuff off iTunes, and I do like one song at a time because that's all I want.
That's what I would do. Yeah,
and it's something like I've heard off of Pandora. And it's like, I just want this one. I just need to get to it.
Give me that one song.
That's why I pay for Spotify. Too.
Whereas before that, like I would buy a lot of CDs. Before I moved, like I dumped so many CDs, selling them just in embarrassing multiples because I am a collector and I can't help myself. And I just need, like you're saying, right? Just going to buy all these.
Just buy it.
Because I got to be the music guy at the time.
Oh, and I was ahead of it too.
I gave up on that, thankfully.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah, and I'm kind of content with what I have now. And in the most CDs I've bought like from performers at shows.
I think that's the last
I think that's the last time I bought a vinyl was at a show because I like buying them at the show. Like I see them live and it's like, oh, I can just buy it. I just walk away.
The most recent came a month ago. I ordered MC Chris's album.
Yep.
Foes. Raps up the Batman villains.
Nice.
Because he did Friends a couple
years ago.
He did Friends, now he's doing Foes.
He was like, oh, I did Friends, and they're about Batman and his partners.
Allies.
And then he's like, my next album's going to be, I'm like, enemies. He's like, it's Foes. I'm like, oh, shit.
That makes more sense.
That's such... Oh.
That'd be a good turnover on one record, though. One side's
right?
Friends and the
Friends
other side would be Foes.
Yeah. Yep. But
you can use that idea.
I think they'll like
that one's free.
That one's free.
There
on the house.
That's mine now. There's like, especially when we go to World's Fair,
Yeah.
or like smaller shows like that, I will without hesitation drop money on those CDs, which is
It's
rare.
like, what French is the Punk do I not have yet?
Yeah.
Like, did Holly make anything new for Human Wine?
I bought the This Way to the Egress vinyl last year,
Yep.
which was blue. I am a sucker for colored vinyl. Oh, this vinyl's a different color? I've never heard a single song off of it? Give it to me. I need it. $50 sold. Just give me the different colored vinyl. And then like 2 weeks later, my my cats have a penchant for, they like to lick plastic.
Huh.
Not joking. And they know it drives us nuts. My cats will like furiously lick plastic looking at us like, what are you gonna do, what are you gonna do? And then like when they see us coming, they brace and they go, oh god, like, what have I done?
You got to get your Nerf gun out.
Seriously. And because I'm a hipster aficionado, I started leaving the plastic on my vinyl. I just slid it down the side so I can get the record out.
Yeah.
But you leave the plastic on it to protect it.
Right.
And I left the plastic on my Egress vinyl.
Yeah.
Or no, it was a vinyl in front of it.
Right.
That I had bought. And the cat was licking it when Riss and I were, or my wife and I were at work.
Yeah.
And this leads to the dog playing with the cat. And then the cat licks the vinyl, it licks the plastic, and then it starts to maybe nip at the plastic a little bit, maybe tug on it a little bit. And then my dog grabs it, like, because it like pulled up a couple records, grabbed my Egress vinyl and ate the entire thing. Not the record, not the record, the sleeve itself. The sleeve is destroyed. It doesn't exist anymore. It exists on my lawn somewhere.
So how do you store yours?
We have these like little square,
It's like milk crates almost.
kind of, yeah. They're fabric.
Yeah.
They are not the best, but it's what we had at the time. I've been looking at getting one of those square cubbies that like breaks into like more square sections, And
You want to build these?
That's how I store mine. I got 2 of those off Amazon, just stacked them, and I can put and they're sturdy enough too because they get heavy.
records are really
It's almost
heavy,
like
dude.
storing like trades and stuff like that. Like they are heavy when you have a full shelf of them. So you want something that's not going to break on you or start drooping in.
Exactly. And I
and
want
you get
something
nervous.
Yeah, and it'd be
Curve,
nice to
yeah.
actually like see them there instead, because like when I go through my records now, I have to like push them back and flip through them one by one. One of my first records in my collection is my Hotline Miami 2 soundtrack, which I just found out is worth a shitload of money.
Yep, I sold mine.
And I just bend the shit out of it every time I go.
You could probably still get some good money for it.
Well, who am I kidding? I'm never gonna sell it.
Yeah,
You
hang
know,
on
it's-
to it forever. So if I ever want to listen to it, I can
Exactly.
come over.
Yeah.
Or you could just play the game.
You can just play the game or just download the music and listen to it on a computer like a regular person.
Just go on Spotify. There's a Hotline Miami playlist where someone just assembled all the tracks.
Really?
Yeah. Spotify, and from what I hear, Spotify is kind of a shitty company, like to artists and stuff. But my wife,
They don't get much pay out of it.
yeah, my wife got a Spotify premium account because we listen to music at work a lot. And I was like, wait, you can just listen to anything? Anything except Tool. You can't listen to
that's
Tool.
what I was gonna say. The only thing you can't listen to is Tool, and it's like, thank you, LimeWire. Like, I'll just download that, have it separate, but I can't put Tool in my Spotify playlist, and it drives me berserk.
You can listen to A Perfect Circle.
And
but
I
you
can listen,
can't-
and you can listen to his other freaking band.
Didn't like
whatchamacallit.
Taylor Swift pull out of Spotify too?
That was a big thing a couple years ago where she's like, you guys don't support artists, blah, blah,
Okay.
blah. I don't have enough money.
Yeah.
But I think
No,
she's on
she
Spotify
doesn't
now.
have enough money.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I recently I didn't
The
even
Beatles aren't on there either, I don't think.
That's because Michael Jackson owns them.
Yep. But Michael Jackson
know
is
why I
on
just said
Spotify.
that. Sweet irony. But yeah, I've recently gotten into Spotify, which is it also is killing my vinyl. I haven't listened to a record actually I listened to one last weekend for the first time in a long time. But before that, I hadn't listened to a record in probably a month, maybe 2 months. Just because I have my Google Home now and I can say, hey Google, and then I can say cast X whatever to the receiver, and it just goes right to my sound system and it's perfect.
And then you still end up buying vinyls, and then you just don't
Yeah,
listen to them.
so I'm a fucking idiot.
They got me from every direction.
It's like when I buy the single issue of Chew, and then I buy the trade of Chew, and then I buy the hardcover of Chew, and then I buy the Smorgasbord Super Edition of Chew. Rob Guillory just announced his new book at Image Expo the other day, and I can't wait to see it.
Taylor Wells just posted about it too.
Right? She's doing the colors.
Was there any summary of the plot or anything, or is it just
It's-
it's just like, hey, we're doing a book?
It's like I think it's called Green Thumb. Is that what it's called?
I don't recall.
I can't quite remember. It's about like a farmer, and they can like genetically grow body parts.
Okay.
And stuff. It's supposed to be like kind of like Chew, like kind of dark, like horror comedy type of deal. But it looks super rad, and he's been teasing it for a while. He's like, I can't tell you, and it finally came out at Image Farmhand. That's what it's called, and it looks dope. Anyways, there's also there's a new book by Layman coming out too, which is really neat. So more comics now that Invincible's over, and I'm sad. But yeah, vinyl's super rad.
You were saying you have like a special vinyl eBay to
yeah,
sell
there's a website I use called Discogs. It's discogs.com. It's strictly like a marketplace for buying, selling vinyl. I used it originally just to put stuff in a collection, just a digital collection, so I had everything that I had.
Right.
When I wasn't like interested in selling, it was only recently I started selling off stuff.
There's a lot of things that are good at that.
Yeah,
it's weird how like.
And the thing is, when you Google most records,
Yeah.
like it's usually the top site result because it has all the info and everything for the vinyls, as opposed to like Amazon or eBay, which isn't like a database. That's the thing; it's also a database with the marketplace, so it's very handy. For
when
that
I
kind of
would
stuff.
try to find like an organizer or like a checklist for my HeroClix collection when I'm playing on miniatures game, and like there was never a good up to date like collection list or a login kind of thing to keep track. But the website that you could make trades on, trading or selling, perfect all the time. New set comes out, it's updated like almost immediately. And a lot of people like would never trade, but that's how they would keep track of their collection, because that was the best way to do it, which is kind of frustrating.
Oh yeah,
it's like, I want to trade with you, and they're like, no, I'm not trading.
And I think that was really cool about that site too is that so you have people doing their collections and not selling, and you would see how many people actually have it, and you can also make a wish list, so you can see how many people who want it too. So you can see it's like, oh, I have this, and like 100 people have it, but like 1,000 people want it, and it's like, okay, how much is it going for? Yeah. Oh, okay. And it's like for like what Jeremy was saying, he likes the colored ones, like the special presses and stuff like that. Like they have them all sectioned out like that too. You have the UK release. I know some albums have different album art in different parts of the world, so you have that difference. Like so much to keep track of if you want to be a collector.
I was on 2 of those for vinyl figure collecting, not vinyl, but vinyl.
Yeah, vinyl figures
like these back here, because there's ones that I couldn't sell, so I could see what I could trade for instead.
Just try to get a value out of them. That's really all you really want to try to find.
But those sites that I found were never updated. Like no one was up to date.
You should maybe make your own.
I thought about that. Because there's no comic book statue trading site. It's like, well, what if I want to find someone like that has an original like Bowen Sentinel? It's like, I want a Bowen Sentinel. Like, what do you want for it?
Yeah, take a look at Discogs and try to get like an idea if you want to go into that. I mean, it's get some examples of how they go about stuff and maybe pitch that idea to someone who can launch a site like that for you. That sounds like a good idea. If you say there isn't one out there, and
I'll get halfway there and then find it's actually somewhere that I haven't looked at.
It's somewhere you haven't looked at, yeah, probably.
It's like knocked up when they're making the website devoted to nude scenes in movies. When they find out that Mr. Skin exists.
Yeah, exactly.
If Zach, if you had a Grail album to own on vinyl, any album, regardless, like what would you? I have this album. I no longer need to collect everything. I can die now. Maybe not that extreme, but
I have like my top 5, let's say, like favorite artists, and I always want to have all their releases. I got some of them checked off. Like I'm a big Brand New fan. I have all their albums, including the new one. Arcade Fire I like a lot. LCD Sound System's really good. Jimmy Eat World, I'm chipping away. I'm almost there. 9 Inch Nails is going to take me forever because they've been around for a while.
You got to collect all your Halos.
I'm not going to get all the Halos. I'm not going to get the singles, but he has recently announced that they're repressing at least some of his albums through the 90s and early 2000s because the original releases of those are stupid expensive because they have only been released when they were released.
Right.
So if I get all of Nine Inch Nails albums and he officially retires and never makes music ever again, then I think I'll probably stop. And that's where I'm at right now. That's why I started selling some, because it's like I like this band, but like I don't need their vinyl, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of just chipping away at getting rid of those, but I'm still buying. I'm still buying to complete the sets that I want to complete.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
my grail myself, like the one, if I could own any album, it would be the Gorillaz.
I would love Demon Days.
Demon Days. You can't.
You can't.
I've seen.
It's one of those. I was gonna be like, oh, I should start getting some Gorilla albums with the new album coming out, and I looked. I'm like,
I have Plastic Beach.
You can get Plastic Beach. You cannot get
anywhere.
You cannot get Demon Days.
And you can get their first. You can get Gorillaz easily too. Like, but Demon Days, like it was a special, like UK only printed. Like they only printed like 500 of them or some shit. It's ridiculous. They actually did a reprint like 2 years ago. I just missed it, and it sold out like immediately. You just can't get it. And it's like,
it's their best one.
Yeah, it's so good.
I have that on CD actually. That's one of those.
I have it on CD because someone lent it to me and I never gave it back. Krista, yeah, it's our pal Krista. Yeah, I still have it. So, Krista, if you're ever looking for Demon Day for Demon Days, I still
You're
have
Jones
it
from some CD playing
for some CD Demon Days. I know where you can find it. Also,
is it a thing for records to get banned, or?
I mean, banned like
it's not allowed to be bought or sold. Like the company that produced it, like just refuses to make it anymore.
I have no idea.
Because when you're like,
so.
For some reason,
there could be certain rights locking stuff down, because
Yeah.
that was a problem with Nine Inch Nails. A lot of his stuff, for example, was it? I'm saying hesitation marks, but it's not that album. His first, Pretty Hate Machine, right?
yeah, it's one of the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The record company re-released it without him. Like they released like a remastered version of it, and
Yeah.
he got vocal on the internet being like, I did not remaster this, so I am planning on remastering it. It's just not out yet, so don't buy this copy. And then he released his own copy of it, and it's like so much better.
That was like when with Breaking Benjamin, to bring it way back. Remember their song from the Halo 2 soundtrack, Blow Me Away?
Yes.
Remember that? That was kick-ass. When that song came on in that game, oh my God. And then Breaking Benjamin had their big thing, and then it took a huge hiatus because Ben was really sick, wasn't really into the band, blah, blah, blah. And then the other band members were like, hey, let's re-release Blow Me Away with this woman singing on it as well. And Ben's like, I never signed off on this. What is this? And he fired everyone from the band. Hired a bunch of new people. I love it.
Because like anytime at the auction or flea market, and I see the VHS of Song of the South, and I go, I wonder.
Yeah, that's actually it's one of those things that's just not talked about, or so owning something like that probably does.
Explain.
Ooh.
I might know this.
It was a Disney VHS, a Disney like movie that
Why
they
do I
had
already
made.
It was a
this.
normal. It was like in the pantheon of
Yeah.
like their releases. It was like
Yeah.
one of their movies.
But it's been decided that it's kind of racist.
Yeah.
Because what was it, Uncle Remus?
Mm-hmm.
There's like a elderly black man who like teaches kids stuff or like sings songs and whatever.
Right.
And like it's kind of a thing of like, in as time went by, they realized this was a mistake, and we can't keep distributing this anymore.
Yep.
So we're gonna pretend it didn't exist. It's not like they put it in a vault. It's like, nope, it's not a thing.
It's burned.
We're gonna forget about it. But like, there's still some copies that float around, but they don't want to admit it.
It's like Han shot first,
Right. Obviously.
but more racist.
Yeah. Little more racism.
Yeah, like
I
I
always
don't like.
expected some manure.
It's like I don't have like the full like detail. I just know like when I see it, it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's still.
And people are selling it's like lawn darts.
You should look. I'm actually curious now, because obviously that was not released on DVD.
No.
It's definitely
there's probably a
VHS. Is
bootleg.
definitely the last release.
Mhm.
Do you find, because like every now and then, like Demon Days, you go to like, oh hey, I want Demon Days on vinyl. And Google, why is it $500? Like, do you find it's like it's almost like unnecessary. Like, hey, why is that so rare? Like one example.
Well, it's because they kind of stopped making vinyls, like for because like CDs and MP3s and so like releases were getting smaller. They weren't making them. It was expensive to make. No one's buying them. Stores aren't selling them, so they stopped making them. And that's why you have like Demon Days is like a perfect example. It's early 2000s.
Yeah.
And it's like music lovers like it still, but it's like there's not enough to make it a big thing like it is now. Like almost everything comes out mass produced, and now the market's flooded and stuff doesn't. You can't buy something and in 2 years sell it because there's a million of them out there. So if you got anything from like early 2000s, especially original releases, like those things are crazy expensive because people like those bands. A lot of those bands are still around today, and you just can't find those records, especially the original presses.
When you guys were talking about this stuff in pre-show, I looked up a thing that a friend of mine had gotten in high school. So this was like late 90s. And he's like, oh, here, look at this thing I got. And I was like, oh, you got a Rage Against the Machine vinyl, and it's bright orange. Like, what is it? And he's like, it's only available to like Collectors Club members, like fan club, like registered Rage Against the Machine, whatever. Yeah. They're the only ones who got this. And I was like, oh. So I was trying to look it up and be like, what does that mean today?
Right.
I recently went to I was big on Under Oath in like high school, middle school, a hardcore band. They did a reunion tour, and they said if you bought tickets to the show, you had a chance you could buy an exclusive vinyl of the two albums they were playing incomplete. Mm-hmm. They were playing just two albums at the shows, start to finish, and that's it. And you could buy that vinyl.
Right.
It's one I actually sold recently because I'm like, I don't really need it. Mm-hmm. But it was like numbered, exclusive only for people. You could only buy it if you went to the show or pre-ordered tickets, and you were able to buy the vinyl online. Other than that, it never got released to stores. Amazon doesn't sell it, and that's it. Went for a good price. Bought it for $40, and I sold it for like close to $200.
Close to $2?
Yeah, close to $2 plus shipping.
$2.
But there are those releases like, and a lot of them are the color presses. So you should look into since you love them, like you should see how much of a lot of those are.
I have a pretty sweet Michael Bublé Christmas album. It's
is it white?
It's red.
Ooh.
It's not that big of a deal, It is what it is. And I did pre-order the latest Green Day album, and supposedly it's red. Supposedly you only got it red if it was pre-ordered. But then when I was selling them at the store, I was like, wow, these look exactly like the special one that I supposed to. Anyways, but I will say one of the ones that like I've been looking for, and it kind of goes into your explanation of this is early 2000s. You know how hard it is to find Cake on vinyl?
I don't know, actually. But that's got to be...
Because my wife really likes Cake. She has very fond memories of listening to Cake.
The Cake's a lie, though.
I love Cake.
I hate both of you. Trying to tell this nice story about my wife and her brothers listening to music. I can't find Cake on vinyl.
I like Cake.
Is what I'm getting at.
It's one of my favorite bands to play when I'm at a bar. On the jukebox. Short skirt, long jacket.
Yeah.
Love that song.
You think he's going to say something else, but then he says jacket. Da-da-dun-dun.
Boom.
Can we talk about Cake for like 10 seconds?
No, finish your... How much are they going for?
They're a lot. Because like they didn't really... Like there's a huge like Cake box set. It's like everything... Cake's released up until a certain year, and it's like $700. So...
A friend of mine went to a live show. I think it was at Webster, maybe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It might have been somewhere else. He went to a live Cake show. And it was really
That's
great.
The Bridgeport Arena. Right? Okay. Yeah, I'm really sorry.
At some random point in the set, the singer brings out like this potted tree on stage.
Of course.
And he's like, if anyone can guess what kind of tree this is, you get to keep it. It's yours. So people are like, he's like, but come up like, don't just shout out so we know who you are. And like someone guessed, they got it right. And like he makes them come up on stage and like in this very like monotone voice.
His way.
Yeah, and he's like, you're going to take this tree home. You're going to plant it in your yard. And as you get older and the years go by, the tree will only get stronger and bigger as you, as a human, will grow more frail and more unhealthy, and you'll wither away, and yet the tree will still be getting bigger and stronger and more firm, become more permanent than you ever will be. And like just kept going. It's like, here, take your tree, and then they just kept playing.
And then he's like, what am I gonna do with this fucking tree?
You're in the crowd for the rest of the show with like just like a tree,
Just jamming out. I rode the bus here. God, the Webster. You ever been to a show at the Webster?
Yep, Arcade Fire, front row.
I've been to a lot of shows at the Webster.
I've seen Breaking Benjamin at the Webster. Saw Avenged Sevenfold at the Webster back when they were Webster material.
I saw Static X and Soulfly, and catching.
Wait.
Were we at the same show?
Wait.
Oh, I love.
No, I saw Static X at the Meadows. Never mind. Because I saw because I saw Breaking Benjamin in addition to like 7 other bands.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of standing that day.
It is weird seeing the blood pool on the floor of the bathroom in the Webster, because it just gets loaded up.
Yep.
Anyway,
Even at an Arcade Fire show. I'm kidding. No, there was no blood in the bathroom.
That's the one time.
That's the one time.
Man, the Webster's. Is that still open?
yeah.
They had a hockey team.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, the Sound Tigers. The Bridgeport Sound Tigers.
You're making everything up.
They're a affiliate of the Islanders.
The Sound Tigers?
Yeah.
We're tigers, but we're also kind of like Lucio.
The logo is it looks like a lion actually, and it has like waves coming out of its mouth because it's making sound. And it's sound because of, the sound, the ocean, the water. That's where it's.
That's the funniest thing I've
I
heard.
never knew why it was called the Webster Underground. It's like
Yard
it's just a
Goats
bar.
is more believable to me. Yeah, the Underground is literally a bar.
Yeah.
The Webster Bank Arena.
Yep.
MC Chris used to play there.
The Underground?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Where did we saw him at Pearl Street?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We need to end because unfortunately every episode we've done this month has run really over.
That's fine.
And we're already over.
Well, you got those edits, remember? So we'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll just hack out
So
whatever
you
I
guys
said I
aren't
was
going to know
gonna
what he's
edit.
going to edit out, so joke's on you.
Losers.
Losers missing out on that.
You'll never know. I said some horrible shit this episode. Zach, this is a lot of fun.
This was fun.
We need to do this more than once
I don't
want to
wait
years.
200 episodes to do another one. Hey, I'm available, so maybe in
Yeah.
a month or so.
Well,
no, that'd be way too soon. Can I set the record for most appearance, like frequent and back to back? So
We
longest without an episode, and then less between.
We have Zach on every day for the next 4 years. Got to make up for the episodes.
Wouldn't I just be like a regular member at that point, or you would still announce me as a special guest?
Joining us this week. You guys have talked about vinyl for 200 weeks. I'd listen to that. Maybe.
I wouldn't.
Fair. At least you're honest.
200 times no.
I wonder what Charlie's listening to right now.
Huh?
I wonder what Charlie's listening to
Us?
on his vinyl.
Oh. Yeah.
Whenever we talk to Sketch Races Charlie, like JR and Charlie will like ask each other what they're spinning. Is that your terminology?
I don't know.
What are you playing?
What are you spinning on? Oh man, one time I called a record player in front of a guy who doesn't like being. It's a turntable.
Oh,
Because the guy comes in, hey, where is that all you got? Oh, for record players? You mean turntables? Yeah, that's all we have for record players. You mean turntables? Were you looking for any other record players? I will destroy you. The more you try and fight me on
I've got
this.
2 of them and a microphone.
What does it do? Does it play a record?
My.
Oh,
the turntables.
I'm gonna end it with that.
Okay.
We're over and no one's listening anymore. So Zach, thanks so much for coming on.
This is live?
Wait, what?
No, I'm kidding.
We've been streaming this entire time. So all those racial slurs you dropped, they edited it out.
Damn it.
Did he? Just kidding. Zach's not racist. My throat hurts. That means it was a good one.
This is fun. This was really fun.
You're a fun guy.
Thank you.
You're okay.
Have fun coming on.
We'll have to do it again in 4 years. That's going to do it for this week, though. Big thanks to Zachary Charbs for coming on.
I said, don't call me Zachary.
Sorry.
Where were you when we
Charbs.
started this episode? Thank you.
That's gonna do it. So until next time, I've been JR.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Zach.
And this has been episode 310, 310, 300. It's not 310, 310, because my seventh grade math teacher would always yell at you if you said 963, because an and indicates a period, a decimal point.
That's your sense, not your change.
Yeah, so it's 310, not 310, because that would be episode 300.10 of Opinions May Vary.